Guys, G-Show here with Blindsided Sports covering the Buffalo Bills. Training camp in Rochester has wrapped up. Yep, next week we're going to Carolina. We're going to play the Panthers next week. We're doing all that. But training camp here in Rochester is all done, and it's time for those training camp awards. Yes, I'm well aware of training camp. You kind of have to take things with a grain of salt. A lot of slow motion stuff, a lot of going through the motions. But what I'm judging my awards off of are when there was one-on-one drills between the wide receiver and quarterback, when it was 11-on-11, pads on, that type of action, red zone play. That's what I'm judging these awards off of. Let's dive into it. Let's get right into it here. Offensive MVP. There's quite a few guys that could have gotten this, although the defense was better than the offense this training camp. But the one guy that stands out consistently for me is our guy, newcomer, John Brown. Okay, he made a lot of great plays out there. Another thing to note is when it was one-on-one drills, wide receiver versus cornerback, John Brown versus Tre'Davious White, I was always honed in. I was always watching that matchup every time it came up. And John Brown got the best of him pretty consistently. It was clear that he was frustrating Trey White. And not only that, but on a couple of the days, he seemed to really form that chemistry with Josh Allen, and that's what we need him to do. So when you show that you're forming that chemistry with Allen, you're looking great on your cuts and your routes, and you're frustrating Tre'Davious White, and on top of all that, you're hooking up with some big deep balls, making big plays in training camp. John Brown gets the offensive MVP. All right, moving on to the defensive MVP. This could have also gone with a bunch of guys. Shaq Lawson played really well, got a lot of tip balls, got pressure on the quarterback. Latule always clogging up. Ed Oliver, once he got those reps with the first team, he got those pads on. It's hard to judge the linebackers because what they do is they do a lot of coverage and they do a lot of tracking down and tackling and whatnot, and there's not a lot of tackling in training camp, so it's hard to judge those guys, so I kind of avoided them. So it pretty much comes down to the D-line or the secondary. Tre'Davious was pretty consistent, except when John Brown was on that ass. But at the end of the day, the guy that stayed healthy, the guy that was all over the place, making plays, just consistently around the ball hawking. I got to give the defensive MVP to our guy, Jordan Poyer, just killing it out there. He's going to be a guy that's going to be huge for our defense this year. He just has a knack for making big plays and always being there. So giving the award to Jordan Poyer with how well he played at training camp, how valuable he's going to be to our defense this year, it was an easy pick. And I'm excited to see him get out there and start grinding this year. And same thing with Micah. Micah got hurt, so that's probably why he wasn't really in the running for this award. But if he was healthy, he would have been right there with Poyer. I'm excited to see those two excel again this year. We're going to do an Offensive Rookie of Training Camp award, and it could have gone to a couple guys. Dawson Knox was looking really good out there. And same when he went down, Kroom's not in, Croft's not in, obviously. Tommy Sweeney stepped up, has been making some plays. I'm excited to see what he does in preseason. I think he's really going to make a name for himself here on the squad. But the winner of the award so far in training camp, now that it's wrapped up here in Rochester, it's got to go to our guy, Devin Singletary, okay? Constantly flashing when they're doing running back drills, okay? When it's, they do that, the O-line and the running backs, fullbacks, quarterback versus the D-line and the linebackers. That defense really swallowed up our backs, swallowed up Shady a lot, swallowed up Frank Gore a lot. Yeldon made a couple plays here and there, but Singletary was consistently the guy that could make that quick bounce to the outside, make a linebacker, make a DN miss, and really wowed the crowd this training camp. Running game didn't look too good, but again, it's training camp. It's another thing that's hard to judge with, the tackling aspects of things. They're not laying guys out. We can't really see how good of a running back's playing and how well he hits that hole, how well he actually makes a guy miss. It's tough to judge during training camp, but it was clear that Singletary had that extra juice. He had a little bit more going on than the other guys this training camp. So the award, Offensive Rookie of Training Camp, goes to Singletary. And again, we got to see what he does in preseason game. That's going to be the biggest tell to date what we have here with this rookie. So let's look forward to seeing that tomorrow night. Defensive Rookie, I think this is a pretty easy one here, guys. Once he put those pads on, Ed Oliver was absolutely wrecking havoc. Slowly worked his way up. Last year was kind of like the Allen situation. Starts with the threes, worked his way up to the twos, and then he got up to those ones consistently, and he started wrecking havoc. It's clear that Ed Oliver is going to be our day one starter. It's obvious. And I'm excited to see what he does. We have a good offensive line. We're hoping it's going to be improved from last year. And it hurts with Mitch Morse not in there for a lot of when Ed Oliver was shining. But Ed Oliver was able to penetrate, able to wreak havoc, able to make some plays. And it's going to be awesome to see him in preseason, and even better once that regular season starts. We're hoping that we really got a stud here. All signs in training camp are leading to the fact that Ed Oliver has the potential to be a really great interior lineman. But there's obviously a lot more to see. But training camp 2019, Ed Oliver shined, did a great job. I got an underdog of the year here for training camp. A guy that I wasn't really expecting much out of, and with every single camp day that I went to, he just continued to shine, continued to look good, and it's Ray McCloud. He had a lot of good practices, especially against the twos. When he was going against the twos, he stood out. And then also when he was with the ones, he made some big plays too, especially return of the blue and red. I caught it on Twitter. He had a big play from Josh Allen. Continues to run good routes, continues to be one of the first guys out there on the practice field, and continues to get really, really good separation. And he stands out. The problem is we have John Brown, we have Cole Beasley, two guys a little bit on the smaller size. So Ray McCloud making the team over someone like a Duke Williams or even a David Sills, it's tough. He played way better than those other guys on the bottom of the depth chart at the wide receiver position, but the fact that he's smaller might just stack up against him because of the group that we have that are most likely going to make the team. So Ray McCloud played great. I hope he makes the team. I think he has a lot to contribute. Let's see how he plays in preseason. That's going to be another telltale sign. How many snaps is he getting with the ones? And if he's out there with the twos, what kind of plays is he making? But at training camp, Ray McCloud looked great. So stay tuned. Let's see what happens with him in preseason, guys. Moving on. Most consistent player at training camp. I was going through, and it had to be somebody on the defense because the defense consistently played so well. I was going through, and there was Trent Murphy was really consistent. Oliver, Shaq, Jerry Hughes played well. Tremaine was all over the place. Matt Milano. And I'm like, you know what? Fuck it. I'm just going to give it to the entire defense. At the end of the day, the defense, other than a couple days, they pretty much won camp. Out there making plays. The big thing was pressuring the quarterback. So maybe I should have just stuck it with the D-line. But regardless, constant pressure on the quarterback, forcing turnovers, coverage. I mean, the linebackers are all over the place. And the secondary is looking like they're going to be even greater than they were last year. And last year they were the best. So entire defense gets this one. Look for them to have another great preseason, another great regular season. We all expect that anyways. But most consistent in training camp, the entire fucking defense. They look great. And side note here, that's great. That's great for our offense. We want our offense to go against a top-tier defense. It's only going to make them better. It's only going to make it easier and seem like other defenses that aren't as strong. It's going to make them seem slower, weaker, etc., and so on and so forth. So our defense is making our offense better. So defense, great job this training camp. Okay, so most improved in training camp. Most improved player. I was going through a few guys, and I just said, yeah, there's a couple guys that have improved, that have stepped up their game, Ray McCloud being one of the big ones. But instead of doing that, I'm going to go position here. And I think the position group that has had the most development from last year to this year, it has to go with the wide receivers because the O-line, there's still too many question marks. There's still too many injuries. The wide receivers, it seems to be a steep competition, guys. We got, John Brown at the top, Zay Jones at the top, Cole Beasley at the top, Robert Foster in the mix around that 4, 5, 6 spot. Andre Roberts is making noise, guys. Not only is he a return guy, but he's running great routes, making plays in practice consistently. Keep an eye out for Andre Roberts as a wide receiver. And then we got Ray McCloud. I mean, Duke Williams, he's making more plays as camp goes on. He's probably getting the playbook down a little bit better. He's going to be another guy. How do you play in preseason? There's a lot of competition at this wide receiver spot, and that is the last thing we had last year. Last thing was wide receiver competition. We were like, okay, who else can we get in here to make some plays? Between all the guys from the top to the bottom, It's gonna be great competition. Who's gonna shine in preseason, and we're gonna have to cut some guys that we don't want to see go. So with that, and that's a good problem to have. It's unfortunate, but it's a good problem to have. So wide receivers between 2018, 2019, significant improvement. And the biggest question mark has to be the offensive line. As much as we wanted that to be the biggest improvement, we brought so many guys in. It's just still such a question mark. They've had good days, but they've also had a lot of bad days. And the two really good days that the offensive line had and the offense had was when Mitch Morse was out there and when they had the pads on. Mitch Morse being out is obviously detrimental to the O-line and to the team in general. So, Waddle goes down for the year, and Secchi's looked good. Cody Ford looked okay at right tackle. Trent Murphy really got the best of him on a regular basis. They slid him to guard. It seemed to be going a little bit better there. There's just still so many question marks. We got to get Morse back. We got to keep our guys healthy. We got to find that solid squad. Quentin Spain looks to be solid there at left guard. He's great in the run game. Deion Dawkins has been playing well also. But we got to get Morse back. We got to find out who our right guard's going to be. And we got to find out who's going to be a right tackle, whether it's Ford or Secchi. We still got some stuff we got to pan out. And we still got some more practices down in Carolina. We have 3 preseason games to figure it out, really. The 4th is kind of just, get the 3rd guys out there, get the 3 and the 4 guys out. So we have some time. Let's watch how this develops. It's still early. This may very well pan out, and by week 1, we're pumped about what we got at offensive line. But for right now, the time being, they are the biggest question mark from training camp, and we are seriously hopeful that we get it figured out by week 1. Thank you guys for watching. Hit us up on all social media platforms. You guys are killing it. Like our Facebook. Subscribe on YouTube, Twitter, Instagram, all the above. We're out there. We're going to be diving deep this year into all things Bills. So thank you guys for watching. Blindsided Squad. Love you guys. Go Bills.